Brad Cox joins me now. Brad, good morning.
Good morning, Mike. Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, man, these conditions in Hot Springs right now are not ideal if you're trying to get a horse ready for the Kentucky Derby.
No, not at all. But I think Oakland's done a good job of trying to keep everybody informed, and obviously, postponing the race I thought was the right decision, and hopefully it all plays out tomorrow.
I said earlier that horses in other parts of the country, and you have horses all over the country, but horses in, say, South Florida and horses in Louisiana, horses in Southern California that are able to train on a regular basis have a big advantage over the horses that are in Hot Springs right now. Am I off base with that, or do you agree?
I think long term, probably so. You would have an advantage, but when you look at the run of the Southwest, obviously we shipped our horse in from South Florida. Bob shipped his horse from Southern California, and we didn't. I don't think either one of us run quite as well as we expected, and the local horses were, I believe, 1, 2, 3. So look, I think as time goes on, it's probably helpful if you can stay on a steady training pattern, and that race obviously didn't unfold quite as well. It didn't unfold the way I thought with the early pace and stuff, but look, here we are again, and we'll see how things go. But I do think it's in the long haul, it does work when you're able to stay on a steady work pattern.
Yeah, I talked to Ramo Quet after winning that Southwest Stakes with Speed King, and he talked about the fact that his horse didn't get a chance to train on a regular basis. And I said, well, what does that say for those horses that ran so well that were based at Oakland? And he said, well, we're probably just overtraining our horses anyway.
Yeah, it's however you choose to view it, but as a rule throughout the years, I've found that horses that they're training well, doing well, and putting in solid, strong works normally show up in the big races and the big days because most of the competition's pretty steady with what they're trying to get accomplished in regards to workloads and stuff. So the good horses seem to really take it and show up on race day.
What are you seeing from Admiral Dennis that leads you to believe he's a major player in this race tomorrow?
Well, he's got numbers that stack up with the top group. His maiden breaking win at Churchill, 1 turn mile, was impressive, and he received a big figure. We haven't seen that figure since. We just had the 2 runs, but I thought they were really confusing races to watch. They were paceless races, and in the gun runner, he didn't get away well. And then in the allowance race, he found himself very wide around the far turn with, once again, lack of pace. So, once again, I'm hoping that there's maybe a good bit of pace in there. I'm thinking there is, just based off the PPs, that it's a race where no one's going to get a loose lead, and it should help him a little bit. So his run 2 back in the gun runner was no good, but had an excuse, and then his last race he was able to win. But like I said, it was an odd run race. I don't know what to make of it. He's trained real well. His breeze last week was good, and he shipped into Oakland last night, so he's really not missed any training. We're hoping he can train today, and we'll lead him over there tomorrow.
Like you said, when you were there for the Southwest Stakes with Patch Adams, things didn't go as you hoped that they would. He ends up finishing 4th that day. How did Patch Adams come out of that race, and what have you seen from him since?
He's doing really well. He's breezing this morning at Payson. We're pointing to the Tampa Bay Derby with him. Still think we know he's a talented horse. He's shown that there in his second run when he broke his maiden at Churchill. He's a good colt. He really is. He's got a good mind. I think he'll handle the 2 turns. Obviously, the last race he didn't get away quite as well as we hoped. A little bit of an odd run race, I felt like, for him. And we're hoping that he can get back on track at Tampa Bay on the 8th of March.
Brad, what do you like to see from your 3-year-olds at this time of the year? We're still 70 days away from the Derby. What do you want to see from them?
Well, I don't know if it's just 3-year-olds headed to the Derby. It's just all, whatever you're preparing for, whether it's a 4-year-old filly or whatever. You want to see them, good flesh, moving well on a daily basis, whether it's jogging or galloping, and, steady works. Once again, it goes back to the first part of this conversation. Horses that have an opportunity to train, and when they do it, and they do it well, normally leads to a good performance in the afternoon. And not training, you don't know. So, we'll see. But he's, these 3-year-olds, I think just a steady advance. I mean, they have to be, working well, once again, looking well. And, things got to happen in the afternoon. You got to have some racing luck along the way. That I don't think Patch Adams had that last time, whether he created it by getting away slow or whatever the reason was. It just wasn't his day, and he didn't pick up any points. So I think that's the biggest thing, just watching them and just, watching them continue to go the right way. And if they do, they have an opportunity, because the Derby it's a tough race to win, obviously, but, when you're running against 19 other horses, a lot of things have to happen.
Yeah, everything has to go right. I mean, there's no room for error, correct?
No. And, we often look back and you'll find that the Derby winner, you'll say, wow, they got a great trip. It's just like when Sonny Leon rode Rich Strike. I mean,
yep.
it was a great ride last year, Brian. Great ride with Mystic Dan. So it really comes down to just tripping out, and it's those jocks got the trips, put the horses in the right spot, and they were able to get to the wire first.
You have another very talented colt in the undefeated Disco Time. He was going to point for the Risen Star after winning the Lecomte. He skipped that race. What's going on with Disco Time?
He's doing really well here at the fairgrounds. Like the way he's moving. Had a little bit of a setback with him. Everything we sent him for scans, everything checked out well. Was happy with how he looked. Just a little jammed up, and he's responded well with the freshening, a little brief freshening, or just some days off, and he's back to the track moving well, and hopefully to get him on the work tab maybe next week or the following week. And I think right now, based off of what we're looking at, calendar wise, I'm thinking probably Bluegrass or Arkansas Derby probably makes the most sense. Louisiana Derby, I don't think we'd get quite get enough work done with him over the month of March, and the Arkansas Derby or Bluegrass, probably the Bluegrass gives us the best option. And there's always the Lexington as well. So, he has 20 points. We're, obviously going to go day by day, week by week, and see if he can get us there.
Talking with trainer Brad Cox here on the Horse Racing Radio Network. Brad, as good as you are with these colts, you really have a way with the ladies, man, because you've got some leading ladies on the way to the Kentucky Oaks, including Muhima, who goes in the Grade 3 Honeybee tomorrow. She has been a beast in her 3 starts. What are you seeing from her?
Just more of the same. She's been good every week. She's definitely one of those that, showed up. She came out of Ocala with a pretty good reputation. They liked her a good bit. She's a big, strong, stout filly. I mean, she looks like a colt. Obviously, I have a Tappet mare, has the gray. She's gray, and think she can. Obviously, she's proven around 2 turns. She proved that in New York, going a mile and an eighth at first asking at 2 turns, and I think she's got a world of ability. We obviously shipped her. We're going to fly her on Tuesday from Miami, but decided to just put her on a van late Wednesday morning after training, and she made it to Hot Springs in good order. We're hoping she can get out there and gallop a little bit today, and we'll see how things go. But she's a very, very nice filly, a great talent, and excited about getting her 3-year-old season kicked off tomorrow.
Yeah, heavy favorite, 7-5 on the morning line in that Honeybee tomorrow. Mile and a 16th, she breaks from the inside post position. Any concerns there, or is that something that really isn't that big of a deal?
I don't think it's a big deal. Going a mile and an eighth at Aqueduct, she broke from the 1 hole in her only other 2-turn race. So, I think she can handle it. I think there's a little more speed in this race than there was in the Demoiselle, and I do think she can track horses. So, she, once again, I mean, she's a big filly. She's got a big stride, and I think, as long as she gets a trip, she'll definitely be a factor.
How about Good Cheer? How awesome was she last weekend?
Considering it was, obviously short field, scratched down to 4, I thought Louis gave her a great schooling. I mean, I guess that's what you take from that. Nice pocket trip, surrounded by horses. When asked to kind of squeeze through a tight opening, she responded. And, I think that's the one thing you got to take from her. visually watching the races, how impressive and how dominant she is. She's traveling well, and it's like in the blink of an eye, she goes from head to head with another horse, and once again, blink of an eye, she's 4 in front of them. So, tremendous amount of stamina there with the pedigree. Obviously, a homebred of Godolphins, and I think the further the better for her. I think it's always easy just saying whatever, but like looking back now, but like last year, I kind of thought, man, this is the Alabama filly after she won that allowance race at Churchill in September. I thought this filly will go all day long, and you start thinking mile and an eighth and beyond. You think mile and a quarter being the Alabama that could definitely be her spot. So she's going to get some opportunities, obviously, a mile and an eighth, and hopefully in the Alabama to mile and a quarter. But she's a really really good filly.
Yeah, undefeated, just like Muhima. And I was going to ask you about Eclatante, who won the Forward Gale last time out. She's 3 for 4 a lifetime. Her only loss coming in the Goldenrod. And I was going to say, Brad, how the hell did you get her beat in the Goldenrod? But you look and see who she lost to. She lost a Good Cheer. So now I know.
Yeah, she got a really good trip in the Goldenrod. We were optimistic that she would stretch out. Not certain that's really what she wants to do. Obviously, being undefeated around undefeated around 1 turn, I should say. So, I'm not sure exactly where we're going to go with her. We're going to nominate to the Gulfstream Oaks, the Ashland, the Beaumont. I think all of those races are races, we'll look at and, talk it over with the Stone Street team and come up with a plan over the next month.
Brad Cox here on the Horse Racing Radio Network. Brad, I know you're working. I know it's a busy time. I appreciate the visit as always. Continued success with all these horses making their way down the road to Louisville.